I'm Cath. My channel is made by Cath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me for my latest video, which is all about what I've been sewing over the last week or so. So I've got a few projects to share with you. I've also got one new knitting project that I've started as well, which I'll include at the end of the video. But as ever, there's a bit of a mix and I'm looking forward to sharing what I've been up to. But I'll start off the video as usual by sharing what I'm wearing today. And today it's definitely getting milder here in the south of England. Finally spring seems to have arrived, so it's lovely and sunny today, and I thought I'd put on what I think is quite a spring top, and I made this top using a pattern I really love. It is this pattern here. It is the cuff top pattern by the Assembly line. So I've made a few cuff tops now. I find it quite a nice, satisfying, fairly speedy sew, and I really enjoy wearing them. But it's a woven top pattern. It's got a boat neckline, quite a wide neckline. You cut it in two pieces on the front and two pieces on the back, and it's got a centre seam, as you can see quite clearly on my version I'm wearing today. And it's got grown on sleeves with these oversized elasticated cuffs, and I guess that's the feature that makes this top a little bit different. Yeah, it's designed for woven fabrics. I've made my versions mostly in cotton lawn, although I have made one version in like a baby cord, which I really like too. And it's got a really good size range, this pattern. There are two sizing categories. There's the extra small to large, which is the version I've got. And there's also an extra large up to 4XL version. And the main change in that version is it's got bust darts added. And I think that takes the pattern up to a bust of 63 inches. So yeah, really good size range on this pattern. And the version I'm wearing today, I think is my first cuff top that I made. And I think it was a bit of an experimental version just to try the pattern out. I made it in scraps I had left over from other projects. As you can see, there are two different colourways of the same print, which I'd happened to buy for two quite different projects, just because I really like this print. It's a Lady McElroy cotton lawn print. It's kind of got oversized leaves on, which I thought were just really pretty. And I got the navy colourway for a pair of pyjama bottoms, which is quite a nice lightweight pyjama bottom because it's made in the cotton lawn. I often get it out in sort of transitional weather when it's a bit too warm for kind of really thick brushed cotton type pyjama bottoms, but when I'm not quite ready to move to pyjama shorts. And this sort of peachy colourway I originally bought to make a hack of the Calais shirts and shirt dress pattern by Closet Core, and I kind of hacked it, added on a gathered skirt, and I really love getting that dress out in summer. But yeah, I had some of both fabrics left, and because you kind of cut these pattern pieces in two halves, I found I was able to just about squeeze out what I needed to make this kind of colour blocked cuff top, which is a lot of fun to put together. So I've got the navy and pink, and then the same on the back, pink there, and the navy there, as you can see. So yeah, this is my first version. I discovered I really loved the top. I did make a couple of tweaks. I think in terms of sizing, I originally made the extra small, which is pretty much bang on my measurements for bust and waist and hips. I'm bust 32, waist 26, hips 36, and this pattern all comes in centimetres, so I had to convert it because I find centimetre measurements don't mean a great deal to me when it comes to body measurements, but when I converted it, that was pretty much bang on my measurements. But I did make a couple of adjustments. The main adjustment I made was around the neckline. I ended up bringing in the neckline a little bit at the sides, just because when I looked online, a lot of people were saying it came up really wide, and I wanted to make sure that I'd be able to wear it with a bra underneath without the bra straps peeping out too much. So I brought it in, I think, by about 1.5 centimetres at each side. And I actually did a tutorial on YouTube about how I did that, because you have to kind of alter the facing on the inside. There's a facing to this top too. So I'll link that tutorial up above in case you fancy checking it out. And I also just dipped the front neckline again by about 1.5 centimetres, I think. Because when I looked online at other people wearing the top, it looked like it came up quite high. And I thought I might find that a little bit irritating if it came up too high on my neck. So I just brought it down a little bit at the front there. And I think the only other change I made was I think I might have used 4 centimetre wide elastic rather than 5 centimetre wide elastic, which is specified by the top, just because it's what I had in stock. And I find it still gives quite a nice oversized elasticated cuff. That wasn't a problem switching that for what I had available at the time. But yeah, I really like wearing this one. It's a little bit oversized. It's quite comfy. I think it looks nice with a pair of jeans, which is what I've got it on with today. I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like on. And it is quite a nice, speedy, satisfying sew. And yeah, I really enjoyed having fun with the colour blocking on this version. So that's what I'm wearing today. Oh, and these fabrics came from Minerva. They have a huge range of Lady McElroy cotton lawn prints, which are all really lovely. I don't think these fabrics are in stock anymore, unfortunately, but I'll link Minerva's current Lady McElroy cotton lawn range down below in case you fancy having a look. I've sewn with a few different prints from that range and I really love the fabric. It's such nice quality, so I definitely recommend it. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. Now I'll move on to sharing what I've been sewing over the last week or so. And the first thing I wanted to share is a t-shirt that I sewed up this week. And I sewed it up using a pattern that I really love. I've talked about this pattern before, so I'm sure if you've watched my channel for a while, you'll be familiar with it. It is the Solar Sweater and Tee by Paper Cut Patterns. I've got the old pattern envelope here. It used to be called the Kyoto Sweater and Tee, but it's since been rebranded. But it's a really lovely boxy fit sweatshirt and t-shirt pattern. So it's got quite a straight oversized fit, around neck and dropped shoulders. And it's got an optional ruffle that you can add onto the sleeves, which is a really pretty detail. And I've made a few versions of both the sweater and the t-shirt with the ruffle. But I also love the t-shirt as kind of like a relaxed fit, simple oversized t-shirt without the ruffle too. And I made a few versions like that as well. And the version I've made this week is one of those non-ruffle versions. And I made it in a lovely cotton jersey that I got from First for Fabrics quite recently. So I think it's still in stock there and in quite a few different colourways, and I'll link it down below. But it's this lovely stripy cotton jersey in a navy and white stripe. I think they also had some pastel colours available too, like a lilac, kind of sort of pastel mustard and a few other pretty colours, so definitely worth a look. And what I really like about this fabric is it's yarn dyed, so yeah, the stripe's not printed on, it's all the way through, so I think it'll wash really nicely. So here is my new Solar tee. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I made it using some ribbing for the neckline. And I think I mentioned in a previous video, I'd originally ordered this fabric and the white ribbing because I thought that would match the white stripe. But I got a call from First for Fabrics and they said that actually when they were putting the fabrics together, the white for the ribbing was a bit brighter than the white for the t-shirt. So they recommended the ecru ribbing instead. So they said, would I like them to switch it? And I said, yes, please. I just like the best match. And they sent the ecru ring, and I think it's a really great match. So thank you very much for First for Fabrics. I really appreciated that call. I think it's a really good match there. I'll link the ecru ribbing down below as well in case you're interested in this fabric and want ribbing that matches nicely. But yeah, the t-shirt sewed up nicely. I did take my time over this one, both at the cutting out stage and the sewing stage, to make sure the stripes matched up. So you see it here on the shoulder seam. I'm quite happy with how they came together. Yeah, just took my time there. And it matched up nicely, and it's just turned into quite a relaxed, simple, stripy t-shirt. And it's something I've been wanting in my wardrobe for a while because I've got a couple of Solar tees that I've made without the ruffles with more jazzy prints. I've got like a floral one in sort of purpley pink colours. And I've got a lot of leopard print one that's like mustard with leopard print in pointel cotton jersey. And I thought you can't go wrong with a classic oversized stripy t-shirt. So this is it. And I'll put a picture up. I haven't actually got a picture yet, but I'm planning to get one today. So I'll put a picture up, all being well, so you can see what it looks like on. And I made the size extra, extra small on the old pattern. But I think Paper Cut have updated their sizing since. And I think that might be the equivalent of a UK 8. I think the current size range on this pattern goes from a UK 6 up to a UK 20. And I made the UK 8, which I think is my bust size. And it is quite a nice oversized, relaxed fit. And I just, yeah, I like how that one fits. So yeah, that is my first make this week. Although it's quite a simple tee, it did take a while. Because the stripes are quite narrow, there was quite a lot of pinning all the stripes together to make sure they were all matched up before I sort of risked sewing them. But yeah, really happy with that one. So the next thing that I've been sewing this week is a couple of items for my daughter. And these were quite speedy sews actually. I kind of motored through these ones because it's a pattern I've made loads of times before. I made her 2 pairs of joggers using the True Bias Mini Hudson Pants pattern. I haven't got a printout of that pattern, I've just got it on PDF on my computer, but I'll put up a picture so you can see what the line drawings look like. It's available for ages 2 up to 10, and it's kind of like a fairly narrow, slim fit, sort of slim-legged jogger with an elasticated waist. Optional, you can optionally add in like a drawstring cord, and it's got a cute little pocket detail and then cuffs at the bottom. My daughter had a couple of pairs I made her a couple of years ago that are now just getting a little bit small, so I ordered a couple of new fabrics to make a couple of new pairs. I got 2 French terry fabrics, one in this lovely lilac colour and one in a hot pink. They were her choices. They came from Moon Bow Fabrics, which I'll link down below. I find they stock quite reasonably priced French terry colours, and also they have lots of really cute novelty jersey fabrics and that sort of thing, so definitely worth a look if you're shopping for kind of children fabrics, or if you like novelty fabrics yourself as well, I guess. So I made 2 pairs of these mini Hudson Pants joggers, and what I did was I added a couple of details to them using leftover fabrics that I had from other projects already at home, because I thought that would be a nice way to use up some leftovers and make the joggers a little bit pretty with some little details. So yeah, here are the 2 pairs. This is the first pair here in the lilac, and my daughter chose which fabric she wanted to pair with it for the details. So she chose this cute French terry fabric in this sort of off-white colour. As you can see, it's on the cuff there, more detail, with this little owl print on. It's really sweet, and I originally used that fabric to make my niece a little pansy dress by Poppy and Jazz when she was quite little. I think she's long grown out of that one. But because the dress was so little, I had a decent amount of scraps left over from just buying a metre, I think. So that was quite nice to be able to use those scraps on this lilac pair, and I think they pair really nicely, and my daughter's really pleased with them. So that is the first version, and I made the age 7, she is 7. I found they fit quite nicely, and the nice thing I think about the Hudson Pants is you don't need to worry too much about the fit, because you can just size it to their waist by putting in the elastic and pulling the elastic in by the necessary amount. So yeah, they're quite easy on the sizing. My children are never very keen for me to actually fit them, so they're always a bit like, oh, do I have to try them on? But I do get them to make sure they try them on to make sure the elastic's just right for their size, so it's nice and comfy for them. So that is the first pair. And then here is the second pair of joggers that I made in this lovely hot pink French terry fabric. And the fabric my daughter chose for this pair, for the waistband and the pocket detail and the ankle cuffs, it's an interesting fabric actually. It's another French terry fabric, but it's actually a reverse French terry. So I hold up the ankle cuff so you can hopefully see. The actual loop back is on the outside, and then on the other side it's like white and smooth. So yeah, it's reversed, and the loop back's on the actual print, which is quite interesting actually. I think I haven't seen many fabrics like that before. And I originally made a Megan Nielsen Jarrah sweatshirt using this fabric with a tie detail on it, and I love that sweatshirt. I always enjoy getting it out, and I think it's quite a pretty print with this sort of deep blue background and then these pretty sort of pinky and greeny flowers on it. So yeah, I thought that was a nice match too, because the kind of pink of the flower goes quite nicely with the hot pink of the joggers. So that is the second pair I made for my daughter. So as you can see, they're quite different to each other, but she likes both of them a lot. I haven't got a photo of her wearing these, unfortunately. Yeah, I was really pleased to whip those up for her. I find the Hudson Pants pattern comes together really nicely, and the nice thing about sewing these joggers for my daughter is she's not a big fan of having the drawstring cord, so I don't have to worry about making the holes for the eyelets and threading the cord through and all those fiddly details. They come together a bit quicker than the ones for my son. He loves having the cord added, so yeah. I quite enjoy sewing them for my daughter because it is a bit less fiddly. I don't have to go through those fiddly points, but yeah, those are 2 pairs for my daughter that I sewed up this week. Quite a nice speedy sew. So the next item that I've been sewing this week has been a bit of a secret project, because I've been sewing it using some fabric from a new collection that just launched this week, and it is Atelier Jupe's new spring summer collection. And I love Atelier Jupe fabrics and patterns, so I was really excited when they got in touch and asked if I'd like to sew something up using one of their new fabrics. So the new collection comprises 3 patterns and then a whole host of lovely fabrics. I'll mention the patterns first. There is a new trouser pattern called the Frankie trousers. I'll try and put a picture up, which is a lovely crop trouser with some really interesting details to it. And also a jacket called the Grace jacket, which is a really cute, slightly oversized crop jacket. Again, I'll put up a picture of that one. And then also the Florence wrap dress, which is a really pretty wrap dress. I'll put that pattern up too. So there are 3 new patterns, and then a load of new fabrics, both cottons, some really pretty cottons, and some lovely viscose fabrics. And I chose a really pretty viscose fabric to sew something up this week, and I finished it, so I can share that now the new collection's all been launched. Oh, and I'll link the new collection down below in case you fancy checking it all out. And I chose this gorgeous viscose fabric to sew with. It is called, let me just get the name right. It is called the Blue and Pink Tie-Dye Viscose, and as you can see, the name pretty much says what it is. It's this beautiful tie-dye fabric, this lovely navy blue, and they're very soft pink colours. and I thought it was ever so pretty. And it almost feels like a cloud, this fabric. It is so lightweight and floaty. It's a lovely fabric to wear, I think. So yeah, I decided to sew up a pattern that I've been wanting to try for a while, and when I saw that fabric I thought it would look really lovely sewn up into this pattern. And it's this pattern here, the Mauve skirt pattern by True Bias. This is the pattern that I've admired ever since it came out. I'm a big fan of a sort of elasticated waist tiered skirt for summer, particularly like a sort of mini skirt. I wear them quite a lot in summer, just with like a vest top on top and that sort of thing, and a pair of flip-flops. But I have a couple of ready-to-wear ones that are really wearing out, so when I saw this pattern I thought it'd be a great one to use to replace my old ready-to-wear skirts, and I could maybe sew a couple to wear this summer. So yeah, it's a Mauve skirt pattern, it has a good size range. I've got the size 0 to 18 US sizing, and there's also a 14 to 30. And it's a really versatile pattern because you can sort of mix and match the pattern pieces to make the length you want. So it's got an elasticated waist and this optional sort of tie that you can add onto the front, and then you can make it as a sort of maxi length or midi length or a shorter length. And there's options to kind of chop off the tier to make a mini length with 2 layers or just a 1 layer. So you can pretty much mix and match and make just what you want with this one. So I decided to make a mini skirt version out of this lovely viscose fabric, and here is my little Mauve mini skirt. So as you can see, the fabric has such lovely drape. I think it'll be perfect for a really nice summery skirt, and I added on the waist tie here, and it's got a lovely top stitching of the elastic. It's quite a wide waistband, I think it's 2 inches wide, which I think gives quite a nice shape to it. So I made this in a size 4. So on this pattern, my waist would put me at a size 0, but my hip measurement would put me as a size 4. So I decided to sew up a straight size 4 rather than grading in at the waist, because I thought to get the waist measurement right, I just bring in the elastic a little bit more to get to my waist measurement. And I might have ended up with a little bit more gathering around the waist. It's quite gathered there, but I quite like how gathered it is. So the size 4 ended up okay for me. And I did make a couple of adjustments to the skirt. I just played around with the length of the tiers slightly. I decided to increase the length of the top tier by 2 inches and then chop 2 inches off the length of the bottom tier. So overall the length is per the pattern for the mini skirt version, but just I thought a sort of smaller ruffle on the bottom would be quite cute, so that's what I decided to do. And then I also widened the ruffle a little bit, this tier on the bottom, to make it 1.5 times the width of the top ruffle, because when I had a look it was slightly less than that and I wanted a bit more fullness in that bottom ruffle, so I just extended the width of it slightly to get that extra fullness. So yeah, this is my Mauve skirt. It came together really nicely. Well, the pattern instructions are really good. I did have a few moments of sewing this, of madness, I think. It was just one of those makes where things didn't go right and all down to me. I had a bit of an issue with the sewing machine at one point. It jammed and it made a little hole, so I had to fix that. I then sewed the waistband together and realised I hadn't actually opened up my buttonhole, so I had to unpick that, add the fray check and open those up. So yeah, just a few moments like that. Oh, then I also, when I added the ruffle on the bottom, I gathered it and then I realised I'd added it to the top rather than the bottom. So I hadn't sewed it on at that point, I just clipped it on. I had to unclip it all, loosen it slightly and put it onto the bottom. So just one of those makes where everything seems to go wrong, but nothing down to the fabric or the pattern. It was all me. And luckily, it all came together in the end. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I like the Solati. I need to get a picture of this one, so I'll try and get a picture after I finish this video and hopefully put it up here. But yeah, I'm really pleased how it turned out. I love this fabric and I can't wait to wear it for summer. It is very lightweight and floaty, so it's probably not one that I'd layer up for winter. I think this will definitely be a summer make, but yeah, it'll be perfect for summer. And I'll definitely be using the Mauve pattern again. I've got an idea for another version already. And yeah, definitely recommend this fabric. It's so lovely and lightweight. It really does feel like a cloud. So yeah, that is my Mauve skirt using this lovely fabric from the new Atelier Jupe collection. I definitely recommend having a look at their collection. There are some really, really beautiful prints and some lovely cottons that are a bit different to there as well. So the next thing I wanted to share in this video is my new knitting project that I started this week. And this knitting project has been on the cards for a while. I think I bought the yarn a couple of months ago. It came from We're Knitters and they had a good discount code, so I thought I'd buy it then because I knew it's something I wanted to make, and then I just put it aside. I thought I'd set it aside until I finished my last knitting project and then I'd get it back out and get started on it. So I finished my last knitting project a week or two ago. I think I shared that in a recent video. It was the We Are Knitters pink Cosmos sweater. I made it in a sort of natural colour and has a lovely lacy stitch to it. It was a really fun knit, but quite an involved knit because of the lacy stitch. I had to concentrate quite hard on that one. So I thought after doing that project, I go for a more simple project, and this one is a bit more, well, you don't have to think too much, you can just knit up and down. And so this is a cardigan I'm making, and I'm making it using this pattern here, which is a lovely pattern. It's a downtown cardigan pattern by All About Amy. This is the first ever adult knitted garment pattern I tried. It's quite a good one for beginners because it's all knitted in garter stitch, so you pretty much just knit back and forth other than a bit of ribbing at the bottom. And you mainly knit it in rectangles, so there aren't a lot of increase or decreases needed. I think there are a few increases needed on the sleeve to create this sort of balloon sleeve. But other than that, it's quite straightforward, just rectangles knitting back and forth. And I made originally a version using the wool that was recommended in the pattern, which is a bulky yarn, and it turned into quite a big, chunky, thick cardigan for the kind of coldest winter days. But I since went on to make a couple of versions. I adapted the pattern to be able to make it using a lighter weight yarn, an Aran weight yarn, and to make this pattern kind of like a cropped cardigan, which I find goes really well with like smock dresses or with a pair of jeans and that sort of thing. So I've been wanting to make another cropped version of this cardigan in an Aran weight yarn. So I got this yarn here from We Are Knitters, which I've used before. It is their Merry Fine yarn, so it's their Aran weight merino yarn. It's really nice to knit with, and I find it wears really well too. And you can hopefully see I've got the navy colourway there, so it's quite a pretty deep navy colour. I've already got a black version of my kind of cropped downtown cardigan, but I thought a navy version would work really well with some other garments in my wardrobe because I do have a lot of navy, so that's what I've gone for. So yeah, I've just started up knitting one of the front panels here. As you can see, it's got this sort of chunky ribbing at the bottom, which I like, and then it's just garter stitch up, and I think I'm about maybe halfway up, or maybe not quite halfway up under the front panels, but I don't need to think about it too much. I could just knit back and forth in the evening, which is quite nice sometimes, just to be able to sort of, yeah, just relax and quite mindful going back and forth like that. So yeah, I'm knitting on 5mm needles, which I think works quite well for an Aran weight yarn. And yeah, my plan is to knit this side, then that side, and the back. The back takes quite a while because it is quite wide still. And yeah, it'll hopefully just come together nicely. It is quite a wintry knit, I guess. It's not really like a summer knit, and we are obviously going into spring and summer, but once I finish this one, I'll just pop it away in the wardrobe, and I know I'll be getting it out when the weather gets cooler and I have lots of things to wear it with. So yeah, I'm enjoying getting started on that. I have also got a crochet project in the pipeline too that I'm planning on working on. So I think when I want to break from the back and forth on this, I might start practicing for that crochet project, because I'm still really new to crochet, so I want to make sure I do some practice before I start on the proper project. But I haven't got all the supplies for that one yet, so I'll share more details of that one in a video soon. But yeah, that is my knitting project. I'm working on an adapted version of this pattern using some Merry Fine yarn. I'll link the pattern and the yarn below in case you're interested in those. So that's everything that I've got to share in this video. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing about what I've been up to this week on the sewing and knitting front. I'm going to head off now and try and get some photos of me wearing the Solar tee and the mauve skirt, so I can hopefully insert them into this video. So thank you so much for watching and for your support and likes and comments. I really appreciate them all. I hope you've managed to fit in a bit of crafting into your week too. So I'll finish off here. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you again for another video soon, all being well. Thanks again for watching. Bye!